appreciate that. I want to get my thank yous out before I forget, because I get long-winded sometimes, and sometimes I kind of run by some things. But first of all, I'd like to say to Al and Judy, what a great gift, what a great way to, you talk today not only being a great day in Florida State as far as getting players, but now with the ability to develop them, which I think is one of the most talked about things that you do in a program. You got to develop your players, but you have to have the facilities and the things to be able to do that. Be able to get an indoor facility and put us in an elite level of teams that have one. The full time for recruiting and what it helps, but the ability to develop your players year round makes a huge difference. Because I don't know if you saw it today, but they had a map up of the United States. 92 of the top 150 were in the southeastern part of the United States. So what that means, no matter how good of players we have, and we got some quality players, guys that we really wanted, the other guys we're playing got pretty good players too. So they're going to have some talented guys too, but the ability to develop those players in every facet, as a person, as a student, and as an athlete, but that gift to me, that indoor facility, there's something there year-round now that those guys can be in and develop and train no matter what the weather is, what the situation is a huge, huge advantage for us in where we're trying to go. And I'm going to tell you, you're talking about trying to win the championship, you're talking about winning an ACC championship, a national championship, which I truly believe we're ready to start doing. Those inches make a big difference. And sometimes it's 3 or 4 or 5 inches that change the season. And that's going to allow us to find those inches. And I tell our players that all the time. But the contributions from what y'all are doing tonight, the support you're giving us, and what Al and Judy did, I was proud of Al. He almost had a heart attack. Judy didn't tell him how much they were giving until they walked out of the crowd. So, caught him off guard a little bit, I think. We've been after it for a while, and as Al, he's like me. He claims to, wear the pants in the family. Judy just tells him what ones to wear. I like my house a little bit. And before I keep going on that, I would like to introduce my family, my wonderful wife, Candy, my oldest son, Trey, and my youngest son, Ethan, who I have not seen. I'm going to get to see him tonight. Then I would definitely like to thank DeVoe and Shirley Moore for having this event out here. DeVoe is always, every time I've ever called out to ask him for something or the help he's given us, and he's always been right there. And Shirley's been right there to okay and make sure he's allowed to do it. There ain't no doubt, I claim that one. I don't do anything without her permission. That's why I'm such a grouchy moving boss everybody around the office. But it's great to have it out here, and I really appreciate that. I'd also like to say a special thank you to Dr. Barron, Eric Barron, and his wife Molly, and our Randy Spetman and Becky Spetman, our athletic director. Because I'm gonna tell you something. You can coach, you can have everything you want. If you don't have the administration and the backing of the university and what goes on, it's a tremendous disadvantage. And Dr. Barron loves athletics. He understands the importance of athletics in Florida State and what we do. We also understand the role which we carry as the football team, and it's the largest window in which these universities see. And we want to present that image that it's the right image, not only winning football games, but doing high character, quality people, good athletes. We could not do what we do without them. And also, where's Andy Haggard, the head of our board of our trustees? Is he in here tonight? I'd like to recognize him also. Where is Andy? He was there and he left too. He didn't want to hear me talk either. But it was also, the trustees have done a great job, and there's a great deal of other folks that have really helped us. But, tonight we're here to celebrate recruiting. As we found out, recruiting has kind of taken a life of its own. Sometimes I think it's become bigger than the season. And I don't know if I'm a fan of that or not, because it causes some headaches, that's for sure. But, it's a necessary evil to be able to deal with all the things that recruiting puts out, because I'm going to tell you, you can be the best coach in the world, you got to have great players. You have to be able to get the kind of quality young men in here and that can develop into championships. And the thing I'm excited about this class, before I go into them and our staff will talk about them, is that not only there's a certain level of athletic ability you got to have, I'm excited about the young men we're bringing in. When you come in, these guys came in and they bonded with our players and they were around. We got some great guys. I mean, great individuals, kids that were fun to be around and recruit. I mean, you can just see the character in them, the family issues, that they have, the values they have from where they come from. Because I've always said this, talent wins games, character wins championships. that we continue to recruit. We're not only getting great players, we're getting quality people, and that's the big thing that we're trying to emphasize in what we're doing, and it's been a great road so far. But I'd like to thank our staff. Our staff, I think, has done an unbelievable job. I really do, and they have done a tremendous job with the staff. I'm going to introduce them as they come up and speak, and I'm away, and everybody talks about the time as a head coach you're away, but those assistants, and the constant, you're going for weeks at a time. And I get a visit here, and they don't let me go out one time a year. If I don't screw it up, we do pretty good. They can limit my access to them. But those guys are going tireless. I mean, it's an endless process, and it's recruiting now, you don't realize this, is a 365-day-a-year job. It never ends. We've already started with the junior class. We've got commitments for that group. We're evaluating, calling. It never ends. And I'm going to tell you, their families and their wives, I'm going to let them introduce them later on. You do not understand. In the old days, I know why there's no old coaches anymore. I'm going to tell you, it used to be when you got done with recruiting, you know, you had a little break right here, you got ready for spring ball, you coached half a day, you went and golfed about 3 o'clock every day or whatever you do, and you know, in spring recruiting, everybody got together, 4 or 5 schools got together, and you were down recruiting, and you rode in the same car, and you knew you were recruiting the same players, you got the same information, you saw each other, you spent some time. Now, it's signing day every day. It's signing, you're trying to fight for that advantage and be the first guy to get there, offer a call. I mean, we didn't even know who we were recruiting back in the old days until May or June. We've already got commitments for sophomores, juniors, 1 and 2 years ahead. These guys, you don't understand the calls. And now they say, well, you can't text them, but you can email them. Now, everybody's phone's got email on, so I ain't figured that one out. So they're constantly calling. You can't call them, but they can call you. You can email them, you can Facebook them, you can Twitter them, you can whatever that stuff. I can't do any of it. That's why I have assistants. But those guys, it's a year-round thing. You do not understand how many hours. And when you saw that war room today, and you saw us jumping up and celebrating, and Odell, you tore my rotator cuff. I need surgery. I need to go to the trainer. You hit my arm so hard you jerked it out. That's unbelievable. I don't know if that guy's worth all that or not. It was pretty good. But what it is, you don't understand. You're putting 1, sometimes 2, even 3 years of hard work into getting a guy. And it comes right down to the end, and all of a sudden he picks another school, and it could be from the wind blew wrong this day, you had an orange shirt on instead of a blue shirt, you had a red shirt on instead of a... You don't know what changes their mind these days. But when you hit one, and you hit one of the caliber of the guys that we were recruiting, where everybody in the world is going after a guy, that joy, that jubilation, I mean, I don't know if it's as much happiness as it is relief that it comes out, but it just gets you, it's what you've achieved over a long period of time. It's exciting like you're winning a game. I mean, it's just like when you make a play to win the game and you beat Florida, you beat Miami, you're beating them here too. You got to beat them here before you beat them on the field. And our staff does an unbelievable job. But the other group of people that I like to talk about tonight in recruiting is our players. I said this during the season when we had our struggles, we had the losing streak, and everyone was worried. We're all worried. We knew we had things to fix. But when I went to practice and I saw the guys and their attitude and the way they presented themselves right after not having the success that we were supposed to have, I knew we had something special. And it carries over into recruiting. Because I say this all the time. You can recruit 364 days a year. You can have the kid ready to sign, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, girlfriend, that girlfriend, there's 4 girlfriends I got, and everybody else, and the agent, and the street, the guy, whoever, and they all got something. You know, but you can have them all. But when they come to campus, and they get around your players, the first 10 minutes, your players tell them what's going on in the program. They tell them exactly, if coach is telling you a lie, he's full of bull, whatever it is. They sell the program. And those guys, when those guys came on that field, our players were unbelievably just relentless in wanting them on their team, selling our program, believing in what we're doing and how we're doing it. And our players get as much credit, in my opinion, for this class as even the coaches. And I know the coaches did 364 days of work. They did it for almost the whole year, but those players did a tremendous job, and they got their hands on those players of selling what we're doing. And that encourages to me that they believe in what we're doing. And we have the talent here. We're just going to get a little health and stay healthy, and we're going to be fine in that. But thanking those two groups is what goes into it. The other thing I want to do tonight is talk about recruiting just a minute. And what I mean by that, we all, I guess from an educational standpoint, of how, who recruits and does what, we do not position recruit. I want to say that. But in the same token, we all recruit. It takes everybody to sign a young man. And I hear it all the time, well, so-and-so recruited him and he didn't recruit. How do you don't understand how each coach affects every recruit you have. We recruit as a staff, we recruit as a group. But just because a guy is an offensive lineman doesn't necessarily mean that Coach Trickett was the lead recruiter on him. Just because he was a defensive lineman doesn't mean Odell was. Just because he's a DB doesn't mean Mark was. You understand this? I wanted to kind of educate some folks about what actually goes on. We area recruit. And what that guy does, he finds the players. Kind of go through the process. He finds the guys in his area that he thinks is capable of playing football at Florida State University and has the qualities in which we want in an athlete. Then he evaluates them. Then he sends it to the position coach. And the position coach puts it on the form. We rate them and go through them. Then the coordinators all do that. And then as the head coach, I see them all and we finalize what we want to do and how we want to do it. But sometimes, we say just because we didn't get, like for this class here, we did not sign a receiver, if I'm not mistaken. Well, that doesn't mean Coach Dawsey wasn't recruiting. He was recruiting just as hard as everybody else and was recruiting DBs, was recruiting linebackers, was recruiting defensive ends, whatever it was. And what those guys do, the lead guy, they're the, as you would say, they're the guy that does all the groundwork. In other words, they have to they do the background work. How good is his grades? Where is his grades? What kind of character does he have? Talk to all the people in here, because when you recruit an area, you know who's around that school and who affects that school. So they have to dig into the janitors, to the teachers, to the counselors, to the principal, to the family and the friends in the neighborhood, and figure out who touches that kid. The youth coach in football, basketball, baseball, they do the background of these guys so they can find out what kind of young man he is, where he came from, why he's done what he's done, and the successes he's had. And so when these guys talk about each recruit tonight, we're not going to do it by position. We're going to do it by area. Now, here's the good thing. Sometimes an area may not have a lot of players that year. Now, does that mean you're not a bad recruiter? No. For instance, Mark's main area this year did not have a large number of players that we went after and ended up finalized getting. But at the same time, he was as vital in every recruit we had as anybody on our staff. It allowed him to freelance and go see all the DBs, to go see all the linebackers, to go see all the DNs, to go see all the D tackles, which he normally does, but he even got more time in that and more phone time involved in that because he didn't have as many guys in his area that he had to do all that background work. So sometimes that whole process is a lot different than we truly get. And people say, well, why don't you just let the defensive end coach recruit all the DNs? And well, one, he didn't get to know our staff and appreciation of it. And two, I think as a coach, if you ever want to be a coordinator, you ever want to be a head coach, if you're going to recruit one position, when you get to be the head coach, who are you going to recruit? I get to sit back and just it drives me crazy. I don't get to go watch it. I don't get to go say anything. It's bonkers, but you can't ever get there, and it lets you develop as a coach, but also lets them know our whole staff. And also, when you have an area that you're in all the time, you know everybody that affects that school, who the key people in that school are, who the key people that affect kids are, who the key people that do this, that, and the other, whatever they are. And you get to know all the Pee Wee coaches, all the Pop Warner coaches, all the youth basketball coaches in that area. That so when those kids all come through the same program, so you can immediately call them up, find the background. If you're just first time you ever go recruit a player and he's at your position, and you don't know the school in the background, it takes you forever to do the research. So I actually think you don't find out as much about him as you really should as a person and the character he has because you don't know the area. And that's kind of how we're going to do it tonight. I know I probably got a little long-winded, but I thought it'd be a good idea to change things up and really see how things work. And some of the guys were fortunate to sit up in our war room today, saw us how we do things, how we go about things, and how it happens. But from that standpoint, I'm extremely happy today. I can say I love our class. I think we got the needs in which we want. We're not quite done yet. I'm not allowed to say that or be specific. We're just not quite done. It has nothing to do with him or us or anything else, just a circumstance of a game that will be cleared up, and I think by Friday we'll all be smiling even more because everything becomes official and where we got to go. But I'm going to let Tom have this, introduce our coaches, and I'm going to follow it up with him. But I'm extremely happy with what we've done. There's three people I want to recognize tonight that won't speak that have just as much value in everything we do as our full-time coaches going around. First is Vic Valori, our strength and conditioning coach. With Vic and Randy, his wife. Randy, please stand up. Vic Valori. First things those recruits say, all right, how's your strength and conditioning program? How is so-and-so? How can he change me? Vic does he was with me way back when we first started. When I was assistant, he was an assistant, and always knew I wanted him to be my head strength and conditioning coach when I became a head coach. And those guys, when they get them on campus and show how they've changed the players and developed the players, you get a bunch of pictures of before and after when our kids come in and what they've done. Those guys affect those guys, not only for our success on the field, but in recruiting. It's a vital thing. Eric Korm, who is my everyday operations guy. He's my speed conditioning guy. He's my nutritionist. When I have a fit and just start ranting and raving, he kind of handles that too, and about everything else that kind of goes on. Him and his wife Holly. Now, hey, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. I apologize. I told you I messed up. Now, they have to run out. I think they also are expecting. So you never know. If he has to run out of here, you'll know what's going on. But Eric, please stand up, Eric. And then is Bob Lasavita in here? Is Bob here? Bob's our on-campus recruiting guy who sets up all the business, everything. Bob, they put you in the back? You gotta be up here with us, Bob. Who am I gonna rant? I ran from Eric ain't here, I yell at him. Eric may have to run out of here and have a baby. Who am I gonna yell at? Fix it, get somebody to fix something. But Bob does an unbelievable job setting up recruiting, mapping recruiting, where the guys are going, the flights, the on-campus visits, all the things he sets up for our recruiting. I mean, everything imaginable in recruiting. Bob does a tremendous job, and he and Eric are both meticulous. I'm gonna tell you, they are. They're to the fine detail on every one of our visits. You hear those guys rave about our visits when they leave, and I know you're all reading War Chant, because War Chant talks to them more than we do. Y'all probably read that 24 hours a day. But when those guys are giving us rave reviews of what goes on at our campus, what's happening, those guys dot I's, cross T's, everything that those kids get is first class. I mean, everything. And it's those two that really do everything. We bring them in, but it's them that's setting everything up. And Bob and his wife Michelle, I don't believe she's here with you tonight. But it's a unbelievable, tough job for what they do, but it's just as vital as anybody of us going out on the road and finding players. But again, I thank you tonight. This is a night to rejoice, enjoy, kind of see where we're going. We're excited about that. I'll finish up when everybody's done. But thank you all for coming. Hope you look forward to getting to see these guys.
You know, first guy, a tight end from California, Cristo Corzides, 6'4", 240 pounds. Big body who can do both. He can block, and he does a great job getting open. He's a physical kid, and he's kind of deceptively fast. Real nice soft hands, but strong enough when he engages on guys in the run blocking schemes that he can displace them. You're looking at a great player. He was all ESPN, Los Angeles, first team. He was first team All-State, first team Orange County. And at the end of the day, it was between Cal, UCLA, and Texas. And he loved Florida State. He came on the visit. It confirmed the thoughts he had before when he came during the camp, and he committed. And he really wants to play at Florida State, and he pledged to us today. Very, very intelligent, has great grades, high test scores, and it reflects on the field. He's a smart player. Next guy is Sean McGuire, quarterback from New Jersey, 6'2", about 200 pounds. He's number 13 quarterback from ESPN. Very strong arm. Played in a wing T offense, which made it difficult to throw the ball a bunch, but when he did, he was extremely accurate, completed, first of all, he was a starter for 3 years in high school since his sophomore year. He completed over 60% of his passes. I think he totaled 36 touchdowns and 9 interceptions for the last 2 years. Very, very, very intelligent, hard worker, who's going to be great with this class. He Today he had to sign from the All-Star game. He was playing the World versus USA versus the World game, where he plays against all these other countries, and he's a team captain in that game. Just a guy who's charismatic, and he's a leader. Great kid to recruit, phenomenal family, and we're truly blessed to have him part of our class, Sean McGuire. Now, these two kids are probably coming from the furthest parts of our recruiting areas. I got New Jersey, and I got California. And it's a long flight. And, but they love this school. And when they came here, we made them feel welcome. And they're thrilled to play for you guys. Okay, thank you.
How you guys doing? Just like to recognize my wife, my two kids, Neek and Devin and Drake. Kenya's not here. This is Neek actually her first time coming. So hope you're having a good time back there. But I guess I'll start. But it's a great recruiting class. I'd like to recognize Christian Sanders and Matt Ayers, they're Bob's assistant, and all the secretaries. I'm sorry. All right. Justin Shanks, 6'3", about 335 pounds now. He's from Alabama. He was ESPN top 150 kid. He's a big body that can rush the passer. He's a run stopper. And he had to choose Florida State over Auburn and Alabama, which is a big deal in that state, considering they're one of the last 3 national championships. His team won the state championship this year in Alabama 6A. He's very strong. He reminds me a lot of his coach, Odell Higgins, who played a vital role in getting this kid. He did a tremendous job with him. He helped me out, helped me recruit him, and he got along well with Coach Higgins. He felt Coach Higgins can get him to the NFL and get him a college degree. Chris Cash is a very interesting story. This is a kid who was ranked the number 13 player in the nation, even though he didn't play a down football this season. Going into the season, going into his senior year, realized he had some academic issues, and he decided to change schools to fix him. And he currently has a 21 on ACT, and he's on track to be eligible and come here in the summer. But Chris is a very athletic kid. He's about 6'4", 6'5". He's about 255 pounds now, running 4.6 40. And he can play multiple positions. He can play linebacker, defensive end. He can also play receiver and tight end. He reminds me a lot of the old Florida State defensive ends, what they used to have back in the day. A lot of big, tall, rangy guys that can come off the edge and rush you and beat you, play the run in the pass. So he's a very, this was a lot of hard work, but we're happy to have him, I can tell you that much. Marcus Elegwe is a kid from Georgia. He's another top 150 recruit. He chose us over Georgia's home state team. And he just took a visit to Cal. He was a little nervous when he got back. He said he was waiting till the 6th to make his decision. But he actually called and told me Coach Fisher he was still coming. But this is a kid that's very athletic. We targeted him early on last year. He can play middle linebacker, he can play the Sam, he can play the wheel. He also was a starting quarterback for his football team. He's about 6'3" right now, he's about 235 pounds, and he can play from sideline to sideline. We're making tremendous strides in what we're trying to do with the size and speed of the kids that we're bringing in, and we're expecting a lot. This is a very intelligent kid. He mainly chose Florida State because of academics before football. His major is criminal justice, and we have the top program in the nation, and that was the deciding factor for Marcus Elegwe. So we're happy to have these kids. Welcome to the Noles family. We appreciate them, and we look forward to a bright future with these kids. Thank you.
Right?
No.
Can you hear me? Right, let's go. The guys that I recruited, they defensive guys. Me being an offensive coach, like Jimbo said, we don't just position coach, we're every recruit. And these guys are two of the best defensive guys, I think, in the country. One of them, we got Reggie Northrop from First Coast, Jacksonville, which Odell Higgins got part of the Jacksonville area with me. We went in the First Coast and got this guy to change his mind from being a hurricane to come to the real. We're getting that fight scene today, because if you hear how he done it at school today, it was amazing. When he had all three hats up and none of them was the Florida State hat, and everybody was shocked when he became Superman and pulled the Florida State shot. So it was a great time in Jacksonville First Coast today. But this kid is 6'2", about 218, great linebacker. He had 190 tackles this past year. He had like 37 tackles for loss. So he was an all-state wrestler as well. Now this kid, the #1 kid in the country. Recruiting DJ, Mark Stewart, Odell Higgins, we all took trips to Texas. This was a complete effort. Now this kid I met when he was a sophomore, he was playing wide receiver. He was like 230. Now he's like 290, 6'4", 290, and a beast. He's a beast. We came down between Texas, LSU, but this guy made me sweat some nights. But he committed early and he helped us build this team that's coming in this year. I mean, he's 6'4", 290. He can stand flat-footed and do a rifle flip right here in front of y'all. That's how athletic this kid is. His daddy played here, wore number 15, and since he came with number 17, he's going to follow in his daddy's footsteps and wear 15. But like I said, these two guys are going to be big-time Noles, and they love it. They're fortunate. They're glad to be here. But like I said, all the defensive coaches had to go in and help me out. Like I ain't mentioned Hud, he came from Jacksonville to help me and Odell for Reggie Northrop. These two guys, they're going to be some impact players for us on the field next year. Thanks.
Thank you, Coach. And Chris Cash, too, and many others. First of all, let me introduce my wonderful wife, Mikkel. We have 3 children, too, Dawson, Drew, and Paige. And they're not here. And probably for the good that my 2-year-old's not here. She already had this place burnt down or something. But very excited to be here. Okay, the first one on the list here is PJ. Now, PJ was our very first commitment in the 2012 class. He came to camp before his junior year, and he had a goal to get offered by Florida State. That was his goal from camp. And shortly after that camp, we gave him that offer and he instantly committed to us. He grew up a Florida State fan. Now, that didn't change the fact that others still went after him and we had to maintain that commitment. And that was, always a test there. But he has great speed. He's got great height. He's 6 foot, 185 pounds. He runs 4.4 in the 40. They played him at a lot of positions. He has a great family. He's from Ocala. You can see him here breaking on the ball. He played punt returner, kick returner. They played him a wideout. His last game, they played him at tailback. He had 186 yards rushing in his last game. The next one on the list is Roberto Aguoye, and he is also from my Florida recruiting area, Groveland, South Lake High School. He's been committed to us for over a year as well. He came to camp, did an outstanding job, and we extended an offer to him. And he's been part of us for quite a while. Now you can see his kickoffs here. They boom off his foot. His coach told me he only had 3 kickoffs returned this year.
The rest of them went out of the end zone. And he said on those 3 kickoff returns, he was scared to death because the kickoff team had been jogging down the field, you know, the whole season. Yeah, I mean, his kicks are off the ground, which is uncommon in high school football because they're allowed to tee, but he wanted to impress college coaches from the beginning, so he kicks it off the ground. One other thing about Roberto is his dad only speaks Spanish, so Coach Coley was my communicator through that process. Colin Blake, very athletic, corner, 6'2", 185 pounds, 10'6", 100 meters, is extremely raw. He's only played football for 2 years. He was a basketball player growing up. He was originally committed to Texas A&M. Coach Stoops was also vital in getting Colin and PJ. He was also recruited by the University of Oklahoma. Colin told me one day he talked to 3 different Stoops brothers and he didn't know which one was which. But he's got a lot of potential and we're very excited. He's a very quiet kid, but very serious. And he knew on his visit that this was the right place for him. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to introduce my wife, Rosemary. Please stand up. Case and Beatty, we have to replace a punter this year who I thought was one of the best punters I've ever been associated with. Sean Powell, All-American, and we had our work cut out for us, and Jimbo and I brought in, we thought the best punters in the country, and we had a lot of them to choose from. This guy came in, and it's an interesting story because he's an ex-quarterback, and at the time that we saw him, he'd only been punting 8 months. He is very athletic. He's 6'3", 225 pounds. He's an early enroll. He's here right now. He averaged 43 yards in his first year, was the #3 punter nationally. Out of his 32 attempts, 18 were fair catches. And that's kind of what we saw. The guy has got a powerful leg and the thing gets up in the air. It might not be as far as Sean's early, but what we're hoping for with great coverage teams is a guy that can get the ball up in the air with great hang time and get a lot of fair catches. And that's what we saw in Case and Beatty. He is from Charlotte, North Carolina. We're really excited to have him. Thank you.
Great to be alone tonight. I'm excited. Hey, I'm excited. We got the class. I'm excited as all. Those fishes can tell you that. They was about to run me in the ground last week. Okay. Okay, the first one. Ladies and gentlemen, he's 6'4", 330 pounds now. Ed is a great kid. He's powerful, plays basketball, and he can dunk a basketball forward or backwards. He's just a super athlete, a great kid. He's very quiet. First time Coach Fisher went up to his school, he just stared at Coach for 30 minutes. But you know, that's the type of kid. He's a great kid. You listen to everything he was saying. Now Eddie probably, let's say he's a top defensive tackle in America, which the kid, he can play. He can play. And if you look, he's quick, he's agile. And I'm going to tell you a little story about Eddie. They were playing the 7th ranked basketball team in the nation. I watched them play basketball. Okay, they were balling and pushing him out and stuff, so they threw the ball down to him low, to Eddie low. Eddie turned around and dunked the basketball. You saw people flying everywhere. I'm serious. Now the next one is Ronald Darby. Next he's 5'11", 175, from Potomac High School out of Oxon Hill, Maryland. Ronald Darby next to Marvin Bracey. He's probably the 4th fastest track guy in the nation, the 4th fastest. He can go. He's a kick returner. He's very excited. Another great kid. You know, he get an angle and he's gone. You know, he played in the Under Armour game. And Ronnie, he did a very good job. Hey, he's very dynamic. He can play offense, he can play defense. Oh, Coach Stoops, I'm sorry, brother. Man, I tell you what, man, on Ronald Darby, I tell you that last week, Stoops, man, I appreciate you. Stoops kept me out of trouble because we supposed to be meeting with the kids at 6 o'clock that evening. Okay, Auburn goes in there. They stayed there for 2 hours and 45 minutes. Stoops saw me boiling over there. Yeah, it's gonna be all right, it's gonna be all right. Stoops said, yeah, calm down. I was boiling. We went to the parking lot, and I just sat down and see they was coming. I Stoops said, Dale, chill, man, we're gonna be all right. But we went in there 35 to 40 minutes, Stoops ran off everything, introduced himself. It was outstanding. And his mother enjoyed that. Actually, that hurt Auburn for being in that long. She really enjoyed our trip. And, hey, let me tell you this story about Eddie Goldman. Eddie Goldman came here his first time. Coach Fisher was out of town. We had 4.5 hours with Eddie Goldman. We thought he was coming a day later. He came a day early. His coach didn't call us. He called me to tell him. Bob Lasavitas, he put together a schedule that quick in 30 minutes. And that kid was here 4.5 hours. He left him very impressed about Florida State. When he went home, he told his mom, he told his dad and his grandma, I had a great time, a great time. The people down in Florida State are great people. And this kid, little things like that, you never know what can really help a kid out. And a couple weeks ago, things got shaky with him. It got shaky. And I said, do you remember your visit? He took his visit to Oklahoma game. He said, yeah, Coach. I said, man, you remember that Florida State war champ? And he said, yeah, Coach. I just tried to get him to start talking. He said, Coach, you know what? Man, I remember that war champ. I was so excited. He said, I visited other games, big games and stuff. He said, it's nothing like that war champ. I'm serious. He said, it's nothing like that war champ. It makes a difference, family. It makes a big difference. Thank you all.
Coordinator here at Florida State. It's a pretty good crew to coach, so I'd like to first thank my wife, Chantel. Will you please stand? Yeah, with this crew, we may want to go back to the expectations of a few years ago when I first got here. Now I think everybody's chomping at the bit and expecting that top defense every year, and we are also. I tell you, we're very excited. Let me also say thank you for that war chant that Odell was talking about, and the noise and the support throughout the year. It's been fantastic. Another thing is Odell, it did not go down like that. Odell had me driving around waiting and killing time in downtown DC. And he was getting in some tight areas. I kept on telling him, don't get so tight to that car in front of you. Leave a little room. But again, it's a tremendous staff to work with. These guys, when I go out on the road and visit all the defensive players, the assistant coaches do a great job picking me up, driving me around, taking me to these houses and make it easy for me. So I appreciate that. It's a great group to work with. I appreciate Coach Fisher and all the support he gives us. Somebody said he wasn't a defensive guy. I laughed because he does a great job supporting us and stacking us with all these defensive players. So thank you, appreciate it.
Coach Rick Trickett.
I'd like to introduce my wife, Tara. I got my son, James. I think since telephone, and my older son Travis is over at Sanford University, and he's probably hadn't called today, so he must have lost a couple. So he's getting indoctrinated in this college coach. Is my secretary Daphne here? I'd like to thank Daphne and all the lady secretaries. Y'all got to realize when we started looking for small fest Atlanta, we wanted some men. I'm talking about old men. So, hell, we had to go to Switzerland to get one and England to get another, you know. So, my flight when we first started every week would be from here to Phoenix. And then I'd fly from Phoenix to El Paso, rent a car, and drive to Roswell, New Mexico. So you have to be wanting to go to Roswell, New Mexico. So then I'd drive back to El Paso, fly to LA, get on a plane and fly to Vegas, and then fly back to Orlando and recruit in Orlando. Now, I won't get on an airplane unless I got an aisle seat. And my secretary went through whatever to get it. I tell you what, she did the best job of anybody I've ever been around. So Daphne, I appreciate it. Because I flew to Minnesota last year in the very back seat by the window, and the guy bigger than Odell was in the middle. And I said, I ain't doing that anymore. And Odell, you and Eddie are about the same size. So, Odell did a heck of a job recruiting this year, I gotta tell you. I mean, he really, to go up in foreign turf and get those two guys, he did one heck of a job. But we feel like we got some couple of offensive linemen. I don't know who they even got on the Daniel Glauser. Daniel's from Switzerland. He's the first player from that country to ever sign a major college football scholarship. He's 6'6", about 318 right now, and from talking to the strength coaches, he's in school already, and he's a little bit more maybe than what we thought he was. He's very flexible. Daniel takes everything you say to heart. The strength coach told him, we're going to get you strong so you can go out there and choke somebody this spring. He said, Coach, you can't choke people when you know. So he's really going to have a nice time with me out there this spring, I promise you that. But he's a great kid. There's about 4 hours of my life that are missing. Once I got to Roswell, I called my wife and she said, where you been? I said, I don't know, I got about 4 hours, I can't count. So I think an alien got there something. But he's from New Mexico military, and he's done a great job. Marvin Bracey. Marvin is fast. Coach Fisher and I were sitting in there, and he said, I'm going to Gainesville and run the 50 on Sunday. Jimbo said, you're going to break the record. And he said, I'm going to break the record. And Jimbo said, state record? He said, no, the world record. Be damned if he didn't do it. So he broke the world record over there for a high school kid running the 55 meters. And Marvin's mouth moves about as fast as his feet does. He loves me, and he picks on me all the time, and messes up my hair, calls me an old man, but I love the kid. He's going to be a great addition to our football team. And if you spend it, one thing about this kid, he committed us early. He was offered to Oklahoma, Alabama, Auburn, all of them, and he never flinched. He never took a visit. He never talked to another coaches. He just, he's Florida State through and through. And Jimbo's going to let him run track. He's got a chance to go to the Olympics in England. I think it's England. Yeah, London. That's in England. I said, sure, I'm just far all over the country. I don't know where I'm at right now. This is Dalvon Stuckey from over Walton County. We had him in camp for 2 or 3 years. We really like him. He's got a big old head. I'm talking about he has got a watermelon head. No, no, I'm not going to say nothing about you or Jimbo. So, you know, but he's a guy that can move, he can run, and we've got a little, he co-signed today. He signed with Pearl River Junior College too, so he's probably going to spend a couple of years there, and then we'll go work him back like we have some other kids in the past. Now this last one, he looks, I went out there to see him, and we got a call on this kid. He was a basketball player, and he just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, so he decided to go play football. And Jimbo kept saying, what does he look like? What does he look like? I said, well, if you took an artist and drew up what you want one to look like, that's what he looks like. So this guy looks like he weighs about 290. He's 325. He's 6'6" and a half, whatever. He's from Manchester, England. Now, when Randy Spetman gets my phone bill, I'll probably be called in. I've called the Canary Islands, and I don't even know where they're at. But I called the Canary Islands because his godfather lives in the Canary Islands. I did not want to take a home visit. So, that would have been a trip. So, but, you know, Coach Stoops and I were recruiting the kid in Vegas, and dadgum, he was the first one committed. And I told the coach, I said, why don't you let him just keep it a private commitment so we can keep coming out here recruiting? That was the best trip I had. Kid commits first week, so I only got 2 trips to Vegas. So, but it's, you know, we put in some time and stuff, but we really enjoyed it. And I think these 2 tackles now, I'm excited about getting hold of both of these guys because, I mean, they're men. I'm talking about, I'm 22 and 23 years old, and, you know, I'm tired of daycare. I think, you know, I'm looking forward to coaching these men this year. Appreciate it.
He's a tough act to follow, but I know you're up to the challenge.
I get to follow Jerry Lewis. I feel like Dean. He can't mess that hair up. It doesn't move with all that hairspray. I'm mad, baby. Okay, but I had the luxury of recruiting Mario Pender, and Mario's a running back, and Mario's fast. I called back to my wife Kelly. My wife Kelly's here. My beautiful wife Kelly. I called back to Kelly and I said, I just saw the fastest, best football player I've ever seen. She said, how do you know that? I saw him play tennis. She said, what's that have to do with football? I said, honey, he was by himself. And he's only about the 3rd fastest in this class. But Mario committed to us his junior year. He had 2,200 yards that year and 39 touchdowns. And he averaged 13 yards a carry. And he'll be running behind some men, so that's good. What's another? Can you imagine coming from Switzerland and learning that language? But Mario's a good football player. He's fast. He committed to us, and he stayed with us, and we're glad he's an Nole.
Again, thank you. That was a great class. There was a lot of hard work in that class, and our staff did a tremendous job. It's a shame we didn't have a few more scholarships. we got hot there for a while, and we met our need. We got the things we wanted. But you know, now it's time to move on. Now it's time to coach these guys, start the next recruiting class, and move on. And look forward to this fall. And you know, I've said this many times: is when you arrive, you're a program. That's what Florida State was in the past when they had the great success. That's what the teams that are winning now, winning the championships, they are. You know, and right now, I feel we have now, in my opinion, have gotten to that status. I think we go out on the field, we play like we're capable. We've had 3 straight recruiting classes in a row. I think we provided the depth that we need, that when injuries do occur, we can bring other quality people in, replace them, hopefully not miss a beat, and create the competition and practice that you have to be a championship caliber team. And if you go back to any of the great teams I've ever been associated with, any of the great teams ever here, they all say the same thing. Our hardest competition came on the practice field because we had to fight for our job every day. Knowing that every day, if I didn't want to practice and was hurt and picked a day off, okay, somebody took my job. I had to be there every day. And if I flinched one day, somebody embarrassed me. And I tell you, that's when you become a championship caliber team. That's when you become a program. I think we're ready to take that step. I'm anxious to see us take that step. You hear me? I'm not a bold predictor. I don't let you. I talk very. I say a lot of coach talk and a lot of team talk. But you know, sometimes when you start to get good, you feel you get good. You got to believe in what you're doing. I think it's time for us to get good. I really do. I think it's time that we can be good. I think it's time that we have the players to be good. And more importantly, we have the people to be good. And what I mean by that, the attitude, the quality of people they are. Because we have kids who work hard. We have kids, as we've been going on the road, as I say, you like to know what your kids do when you're not around as a parent. Well, ever since we've been, all the coaches have been going, we haven't had any complaints of anything going on in there, from how they're working out to what they're going to class to the things they're doing. I think they get it now. They understand the standard in which we're holding them to. And this group coming in, I think, is going to be able to push them and provide that depth and that competition and practice in which we've been missing just a hair, not by much. But I think we're ready to take that step next year and become one of the elite programs. And I say it's about time to update some of those crystal balls and start working on some of that to get us where we need to go. Because you know what y'all are doing is critical. The indoor practice facility, all those things, we have to have that to get there. And now we're getting the players. I think we got a tremendous staff, guys. I'm telling you, we have a tremendous staff. Not only as recruiters, but great coaches, great people that have won championships, have done the things you need to do, and understand how